But for more on the ongoing hacking charges against Russia, I'm joined in studio by Kathryn Gypson, one of VOA's political reporters. Welcome to Africa 54.
Thanks so much.
Now, this debate has gone on now, getting closer to Inauguration Day. What can we expect in the coming weeks?
Well, one of the things that we can look at is this fascinating discussion that happened partly on Twitter over the holidays with Donald Trump going so far as to call out the current sitting president, Barack Obama, on the sanctions that he instituted against the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. We, of course, know that President Obama banned some Russian diplomats, sent them out of the country within a 72-hour time period, closed down some Russian houses in the United States that, as we all know, were most likely sources of Russian intelligence here in the U.S. And Donald Trump was not happy about that. He took to his favorite mode of communication, Twitter, and said that he didn't like what President Obama had done and that Russian President Vladimir Putin was very smart not to retaliate. So that's an extraordinary move by a president-elect during a time of transition. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Sure. Talking about how that plays out, we know that Donald Trump goes into office with the advantage of having the House, the Senate, and the White House. But at the same time, there are those in the Republican Party who are very passionate about Russia being guilty of these charges. Yet the president-elect disagrees with them. How is that going to be?
Right. So as you mentioned, this is something of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have one political party in the White House and controlling all of Congress. But there are cracks, there are divisions. Republican members of the House Intelligence Committee and leading Republicans like John McCain are very upset about Donald Trump's closening relationship with Russia. And they're going to be keeping a close eye on him to make sure that there's some balance there in that relationship.
Yeah. From what you hear, maybe you have heard, are there people concerned about a president-elect publicly casting doubt about the intelligence agencies, their ability to produce accurate information?
Absolutely, because once again, we find ourselves in an extraordinary situation as we have over this past year, this past presidential election, of situations that we haven't had in U.S. politics before. A president-elect casting doubt on his own intelligence agencies. So the question is, what happens when President Trump gets a briefing in the Oval Office from those intelligence agencies? Does he believe what they say? How do they feel about him? How do they have a working relationship moving forward? Those are all questions we'll have to wait and see when President Trump comes into office.
And talking about briefing, President-elect has said he has some information that he might release sometime this week. Where would that information be coming from?
Well, that's a very good question. I think that's something that we're all asking ourselves right now. Is he getting it from U.S. intelligence agencies? Is this something his own interpretation or perception of those briefings? We'll have to wait and see. He's said that he'll be telling us on Tuesday or Wednesday, so that'll certainly be a big news day no matter what happens.
We'll be waiting to hear that. But
absolutely.
Again, is President-elect changing perception among Americans about Russia, or President Putin at least?
He certainly is. One of the most fascinating things to see develop since the U.S. election is the public opinion polls in the United States. If you look at the numbers at the beginning of this year, American perceptions of Vladimir Putin, they were not good.
Yeah.
Now with the election of Donald Trump, who has been very close and tweeted all of these statements of support of Vladimir Putin, it's completely flipped. And now Americans are in support of Vladimir Putin. So that will also affect U.S. policy moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And where does that leave the Democratic Party?
Well, the Democratic Party has a number of questions to ask themselves, mainly how they're going to get back into power in the midterm elections in 2018, how they can make their message more attractive. But the immediate question is just how to battle this repeal of Obamacare, which is the president's signature policy achievement. Well, a lot of battles ahead.
Kathryn, thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Very, very sharp analysis.